Today is Saturday, February 23rd, 2018. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for episode 1 of Survivor 38, Edge of Extinction.
All right, it's time to check in with the other superfans. Joanne and I did our recap on Wednesday night. After the episode aired, we shared our assessment, and I think we threw in a little bit of prediction there. Now it's time to turn it over to the other superfans. How many folks checked in with us this week?
20.
20 superfans took time out of their busy schedules to share their thoughts about a show they love. Been here with us for years. We all love getting together and talking about Survivor. That's what Saturdays are for. We call it the Listener Feedback Show. We turn it over to you, and you take us through it, what you saw from your particular place and slant and prism of life, and offer new insights for us. You over there gesturing as I was talking. You think I'm ramping it up too much?
I just thought maybe a pile was building.
A pile was building. Okay.
I wasn't planning to share that.
Uh-huh.
That was for you, baby.
I see. It was all just nonverbal, the gesticulations that were happening on my right. Okay, anything you want to add before we kick it off?
I don't think so. Let's see what Pete has to say.
Excellent choice. Here we go.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Yes, what an awesome premiere. Woo! And I knew Reem had it coming. Now sing with me, even though she's not officially out yet. Na 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 na. Hey, hey. Goodbye. Oh, Reem, what an egomaniac. All she had to do was keep her mouth shut. And, I mean, I know she was the target, but they were going to get rid of Wendy, because Wendy played just as bad, you know, telling Wardog and David, saying that he was going to vote with she was going to vote with Reem and all that. What a major mistake by Wendy, who dodged a huge bullet this episode. But Reem had it coming. I think the tribal council should have just been the Reem Council. Probst even could see what was going on too, and he tried to encourage it as if to say who she really was. But you could see she was in total denial, and as you would say, Stacey, lack of self-awareness. I don't think she's going to last long on this Extinction Island. We'll see how it pans out. Now, good on Ron Clark. He found the advantage there on the boat, and it looks like no one saw him, even when he revealed what it was at camp. That was awesome. We'll see how that pans out. And I love Wentworth working with that young girl, Lauren. And her and Wentworth could be quite a team together. You know, I like that alliance there that's going on. And David was pretty solid with some of those guys there. Rick, I was really impressed by Rick. And guys, correct me if I'm wrong, was Probst saying Rick's last name the whole time, Devers? Yep. What's he now, the new Jonathan Penner or something, or Rob Mariano? Where did that come from? I didn't expect that. Great challenge there, a lot of physicality, a lot of mentality with that puzzle. It came right down to the end, but you saw Super Joe doing what he does best. And, you know, as long as he's on that team, I think that team is going to be hard to beat for the blue team there. And I got to say, I like him, who was it, Gavin and the guy I'm not crazy about, Chris, they're working together. They said they want to get rid of him. They want to keep
Eric.
Joe, but when the time is right. But right now they're going to keep him up for challenges and then get rid of him when they can. But I better watch out for my homegirl Aubrey. Looks like they were targeting her. Was that Julie? I think that was in some kind of conference there the next time on. We'll see. And I thought it was kind of funny seeing Julia chopping the bamboo there. That was some comic relief, but she did it. That was hilarious. And poor Keith there, too. I hope he's not the new Austin from Pearl Islands. I don't think so, though. I think he's an underdog story, though. I like Keith, actually. But a great episode, guys. Curious to hear what everyone else says. Take care. Woo.
Woo. All right. Thanks, Pete. Good deal. Yeah, I don't think Keith's going to be a quitter like Austin, and I don't see that at all. But I think Keith could very easily get voted out.
Oh, yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I would vote him out next because
he's trending
he's
like
a liability.
A definite liability.
You know, you can see in the clips on the challenge.
The preview for the next episode.
It's like, well, they can't do anything till they're all there. So they just have to wait.
And so Chris is helping him tremendously. And there's, I just got to add on to what Pete was saying about how good it was. There are 2 articles that Dalton Ross put out this week that are just fantastic. One's his recap. And I love that because it's got some extra detail in it. And one of the things he mentioned in that extra detail is that Probst had to call out because Keith was in serious jeopardy during the marooning.
And nobody was noticing.
And they hadn't picked up on it. So Probst had to call his tribe back to help him. And that's when Lauren evidently went back and helped out. And you can see in the preview for this week's challenge, Immunity and Reward Challenge, where Chris is right there with him. I'm pretty sure Chris is swimming with one arm under Keith
It looked like it.
And helping Keith make it to the first stage of the challenge.
He was swimming better, though, in the more shallow water.
He did, and kudos to Reem and Wendy for working with him. Mm-hmm. At least, from what we know from the edit, they contributed to that. So it looks like it's paying off a little bit, but still Chris wasn't able to do everything he could because he had to hold back and help Keith.
Well, you said they were tested that they could swim, but it's probably in a pool. And I think he actually panicked when he jumped into the deep ocean and the heavy, all the boats there and the movement.
I've mentioned it to you, I know, before, but I've seen a guy at a triathlon. It had to have been the first time he was going in the open water. I was there to support my buddy Sparky, who was doing his first triathlon, and in one of the waves, this poor guy, he tried to get out there and swim. He tried 3 times, and we were all cheering him, and you can do it, and you can. And every time he got into the deeper, darker water, he just panicked and came back to the beach, and he actually quit. He couldn't even get the first part of the swim done because he was so spooked by the open water. Imagine what it's like with an ocean. And I've been swimming many a times and seen big things, and I'm like, I have no idea what that is. And so I'm going to keep swimming, and if I have to deal with it, I'll deal with it. But it is unsettling to have something, and when you have goggles on, or especially when you have a dive mask on, it magnifies things, so things look bigger. I remember when I was getting certified for scuba down in Panama City, Florida, and we were out diving at a rig, and these barracuda came by, and they looked gigantic in those huge teeth, right? It was like the teeth looked like they were as big as my head.
But weren't you looking at them from under the water? They always look bigger under the water.
That's what I was saying. I was I was probably down about 50 feet, and they looked terrifying.
Well, I went to Bora Bora once many years ago, and we took a tour where they took us out. They ran a rope, and the person that was dealing with shark was on the other side of. They said, like, do not cross this rope. And they were feeding shark were coming up, and we were looking underwater. It's like, oh my goodness, they look huge. Mm-hmm. They weren't that huge,
right.
But underwater it magnifies it.
Probably little nurse sharks.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it was probably greatly magnified.
In any case, yeah, so So Dalton's recap has got some extra details in it. I'll talk a little more about that, and I'll make sure to include a link to it in the show notes. Worth a read. The other thing that he did was he did like an hour-by-hour breakdown starting at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, leading up to the marooning, and where he went and talked to all the different departments, and he's showing what all these people are doing. It was just, if you're a Survivor fan, you owe it to yourself to dig in. It's a long piece, but man, is it worth it. Good stuff.
I think it's been posted on the Facebook page.
Yeah,
too.
I'm sure a lot of people have read it by now because Dalton's got a big following, but just in case you hadn't heard or seen it or anything like that, I just wanted to get that out there. So, because I loved it. It's fantastic.
I haven't read it yet. I know where the link is, but.
Yeah, so really good stuff. Definitely enjoy that. And it talks about we missed an actual tribe reward at the marooning. He covers that in the recap article, where there was a clue that there was a crate full of canned goods, and Joey Amazing ends up going down and getting it for his tribe.
Yes.
So when you see his tribe, who was it, Ron, talking about how good off they are, that's probably a huge factor behind that when he mentions
they
it.
got a bunch of canned food. Oh, okay.
Yeah, all the extra stuff that they got there. Good stuff. Thanks, Pete. Good deal. And like I said, I'll make sure to include the links to those articles. You definitely want to check those out. Next up, we got an email from Mike in Omaha. As far as first episodes go, this one was pretty good. It might have even been a little better than middle of the road, but this season's awful twist still has me wringing my hands, and it kind of taints my overall feelings. Firstly, I have to address Keith. Seems like a great kid, but how the heck do you go under Survivor not knowing how to swim? I mean, my jaw literally dropped at that. This isn't the year 2000 where there's this cool new adventure on CBS that you don't know anything about. This is season 38, dude. Get it together. It's got a little Reem in there with the dude. Second, I'm shocked at...
I say dude.
I know you do, and you sound like her when you do it, so think about that.
I don't care.
Think on it as I read more from Mike in Omaha.
I don't care.
Second, I'm shocked at how low Stacy and Joanne are on Julie Rosenberg. The 12 people who selected her as their USB take heart. There's no way CBS would not have shown that bit about her not knowing anything about surviving week 1 that early in the episode if she didn't have a huge, redemptive, or surprising story arc. I think she's likely a finalist. Okay? I've seen enough Survivor, and I strongly got that vibe, so I think anyone who's taking Julie being a city girl at face value is sleeping on her and will regret it. The only winner I can think of who didn't receive a confessional in the first episode of their season is Michelle Fitzgerald. Curious that Julie looks like Michelle from the future.
One L Michelle.
I don't see that resemblance at all, but you go. Dan impressed me. I wish we could just call him Dan and not the moniker of Wardog. I'm with you on that one,
You can call
brother.
him anything you want.
Eric seems good in my Jabek. I picked him along with Gavin and Rick as good male USBs. Eric is the only one who went slightly down in my estimation. Based on the little I've seen, it seems like he'll make the merge, but not go much further than that to me. I really like Aurora, and am happy to see that she hasn't pissed off anyone yet. Julia is the nice girl, likely to get the purple edit. She's definitely on track for that, given how little she was featured. And so far, I've seen nothing to contradict that conclusion. So happy I didn't choose her for my USB. Enjoyed the Advantage menu thing, especially that it has an expiration date on it. Good job, production. I love the new immunity idol. It's so cool looking. However, I wish it had a story behind it. Yeah, me too. Tribal Council did look fantastic, I have to admit. Very cool vibe going there. I like the red lighting accents. I did select Reem as my vote out, but clearly she was the obvious choice, so I don't feel any real pride about that. While in modern Survivor, it really can be anyone's guess as to who's going to make themselves a target first, Reem proves that sometimes people are precisely how they come across. As for if Reem is going to quit, I believe, like Joanne suggested, that yes, she will, but not for a few episodes. My winner picks are Gavin, Rick, Aurora, Julie, and Victoria. So happy my USB is in this group who can breathe rarefied air. I also see an outside chance for Dan or Eric. These people are the biggest morons ever if they allow David Wright to get to the merge. He needs to be at the top of Manu's hit list. I think they ought to oust all the returnees, but of course a lot of the new players are enamored with the returnees. I think next to go is Keith, Wendy, or Aubrey. Happy to be among you SFP listeners. Thanks, Stacy and Joanne. Thank you, Mike. Great job. Enjoyed all that. Next up, we got a call from Sophie.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. This is Sophie. I'm sorry I didn't get my feedback on Saturday with everybody. I was running like crazy. I had no idea it was even starting. I had all these bios to read and interviews to listen to, and I hardly watched any videos. But I read the bio of LeAnn, and I really liked it. But when I heard the audios that Josh Wigler did, I really liked Julia, and I loved Gavin. So my USB is Gavin. Hoping he does okay. I know that he's just like Nick, I suppose, when I heard his accent, very southern. However, I've been voting for women to win, and it never happens. So I'm going to go with a guy. I could not see the appeal of Eric, though. Everybody seems to like him, and he seemed just a little bit slow and not quick with his comments and answers. However, it's a good season. There's a good mix-up of people, and I was just so shocked that Kelly Wentworth wasn't given any ice, right? When she hit her head so badly. But Jeff has expressed that he is voting for her to win, like he predicts that she's his winner. So I suppose if Jeff had stopped the competition and got medical, then that would have been shining light on her, and she wouldn't have liked that, and, you know, she just wanted to just carry on. But poor thing, my goodness. With all that adrenaline, I'm surprised she didn't just break down and cry. Maybe I need to see if there's any, you know, interviews in the forest with her. But I don't mind that there's the extra island. Hoping it all works out well. I just want to see everyone's faces when they see who have decided to come back and how disappointed they'll be. I like Julie and Julia and Gavin, so just hoping Gavin does good. What else? I had Keith going home. I was going to vote for Reem, but do you remember when everybody voted for Angela, the army mum, to go home first, and then she lasted forever? So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go with Keith because his accent was very difficult to understand, and I didn't really enjoy listening to his interview. So I thought maybe he'd wind people up, maybe. Anyway, when I saw him drowning, I thought, yay! But anyway, it's okay. And I'm glad that they kept Wendy, just because she's quirky and unusual. I suppose you can learn a lot from these different characters if you're not around people with Tourette's and stuff. It was interesting to watch. My kids were just screaming when they saw Joe. Ugh, I just couldn't see the appeal, but I was like, yay, yeah, I'm happy too. They were just absolutely in love, and they watched him when they were like, I don't know, 4 and 6. So they remember watching him. They're rooting for Joe. Anyway, it'll be good. It's a good season, and thank you for everything you do. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Sophie. That was good. Yeah, Joe looks like a character you'd see in a children's book. I think that's why kids are drawn to him, huh?
Probably.
Joey, The Adventures of Joey Amazing. Yeah, it'd be a great preschool book. Good deal. Thanks, Sophie. Next up, we got an email from Nathan in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Hello, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. I'm excited that Survivor is back for another season and that this podcast has returned to give us a chance to talk about the show. The show and this podcast really give me a much-needed break from reality. The first episode was pretty strong. There seems to be some memorable players and some solid personalities that can carry the season. It was a good start, even though I spend most of my time in the first episode of any season saying, wait, who's that? Who are they? What tribe is this again? One word, Jabik. I don't have a problem with the returning players. I think it adds another twist to the game as we wait to see if the new players will come together to oust the returnees, or if the returnees will be able to use their knowledge to make it further in the game. We saw a little bit of this discussion already, and it looks like there will be more talk about voting out the returning players next week. I do wonder, though, why they would have some returning players along with the island of Extinction. It seems that one twist, and I consider the returning players a pseudo-twist, would be enough for one season. Perhaps Stacy is right, and this is their way to ensure Joey Amazing stays in the game. I'm withholding my judgment on the island of Extinction until we learn a little more about how it will all play out. I do fear that it may take away from some of the gameplay that is happening with the tribes. After all, you can only fit so much in that hour time block. I joined JSFL this year and I was perfect in my first week. Yay me! Although, by looking at the standings, it appears that a lot of people had Reem going out first. That's all I have this week. I look forward to hearing everyone else's feedback. All right, thanks, Nathan.
Yeah, good job.
Up next, we have a voice clip from Rashmi.
Rashmi's back.
Hello, Survivor friends. This is Rashmi from Perth. Another new season of Survivor has started, and as usual, it seems absolutely amazing. So, after the first episode, here are a few of my thoughts. Firstly, I just saw that Wendy kept fiddling with her eye. I wonder if she's got some sand in her eye and that will lead to a quit like one of the other survivors earlier had done. So I also wanted to mention the ageism that was suggested by Reem. She's what, 46, 47? That's not old. I think she should go and watch our last Survivor Australia. And she was quite bitter when she was leaving, wasn't she, and wishing rain upon the team. I wonder if she's going to get rained on at Extinction Island. I think I liked Ron and his special menu that he got in the Hidden Immunity Idol menu. It's interesting that he has to use it by the third tribal council, so I think they're going to get a reward challenge before that, because I think it mentioned something about being able to take a reward. I did like Keith. That was a very good move on his part to jump ship that quickly and save himself. Rick made me laugh, and the puzzle, as usual, was amazing. But it looked so exhausting. Oh my God. The whole challenge was absolutely amazing. So who's going next? I think it'll be sadly between Wendy and Keith, and most probably Keith will be able to save himself. But we'll see, because Joe's tribe is gonna win. So it has to be the second tribe that's going to go to tribal, in my opinion. It is so wonderful to hear everybody's voices again. And looking forward to the new season. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy. It was fun hearing Stacy sing. Okay, cheers.
I don't think she's laughing with me. I think she's laughing at me there. Thanks, Rashmi.
I liked it.
Okay, well, there we go. There's that. And Rashmi was talking about Wendy's eye. I thought what Wendy was doing was stopping a tick. I thought she might have had an eye tick, and that when she was holding the side of her eye the way she did in the episode, that she was maybe trying to control the tick. But it could be like
it less noticeable or something.
Or as a way to just to bring a stop to it. It could have been like Rashmi says, she could have had something in it, but she was holding it open. She didn't have her finger over it and closed. It was open. So that's why I thought it might have been something along those lines. Anyway, good deal. Thanks, Rashmi. Next up, we got an email from LeAnn in California. Hello, all, including Zed. Is he around? Where is he? He was a minute ago.
No, he was, but he's gone.
He's in the back, I think. Sometimes he likes to go sit in the bedroom window and watch the squirrels. All right, LeAnn continues. I was so happy to see that this season seems to be turning out to be a really good one. Might be very likable. And Eric, who I had initially thought would be of the slimy sort, came across as a really nice guy. I had gushed over my USB pick Gavin in the Jabbick show, which I'd based on an audio-only interview, so I was relieved to see that he fulfilled all of my expectations. And his bonding with Eric, who turned out to be a challenge beast, indicates good things to come. As for Wendy, her annoyance factor went way down for me as she morphed into a cute little bird with her Tourette's chirping. But she doesn't stand a chance unless that little glimpse of good gameplay that we saw comes out in full force. As for the returning players, I just can't get excited about any of them being there, even though I've always liked Aubrey and David. It's funny that once the season's over, we just don't care about seeing most of them again. I'm with you on that. A lot of people love having them back, but I'm solidly in that camp. There's just something about watching the players evolve. You can't start over. Then there is Extinction Island. I actually love seeing that final scene with Reem coming upon the deserted, miserable beach. Am I the only one that misses seeing the players tortured by the elements and starvation? It seems that the more recent seasons have focused on the gameplay and not the battling with the island itself. I always liked watching the food foraging and the day-to-day life on the beach. They just don't show much of that anymore. I guess that's why I love the show Alone so much. Yeah, I'm with you on that too.
We do too.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what misery occurs on Extinction Island. I don't think Reem will last long, being the first one there without support, but once a group starts forming, they might be able to hang on. We shall see. One last thing. Did anyone else notice that Kelly's blood was orange? I didn't notice that the colors this season were so super saturated until I saw her orange blood. Or was it my TV? I don't think so. All the other blood on TV seems to be of the red variety. Well, we went back and watched just before this, and we couldn't see it. She definitely got a rope burn. She didn't hit her head on any wood or anything that we could tell.
It's not really bleeding so much as it just removed the skin.
Yeah, those nets can be really coarse, those big, thick ropes, and so she got a pretty serious rope burn on her forehead. But
yeah, but it didn't really look orange to me. But
well, I'm gonna leave that squarely in your camp.
Well, yeah, Stacy.
It just looked like
color deficiency.
Her skin scrape to me. With that said, I'm looking forward to another great episode next week. I'll have Julie going out just like I did last week. I don't think that the strategic bootings will happen until later. Happy Survivor watching, everyone. Thanks, LeAnn. Good job. So those are going to be the two big themes. Are they going to focus on the returnees, or are they going to hold on to them, get something out of them before they discard them? Make sure to watch those extra clips that are out, LeAnn, because they're really playing up targeting them. So there's some food for thought out there for sure.
They want us to think that anyway.
Yeah, although David Wright does not appear to be in danger from the things that we've seen. All right, next up, we got a call from Chris. Hadn't heard from Chris in a while.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, Survivor fans. Getting your first look at the new season. At this point, I haven't watched the episode, but I've made it through the first round. I actually locked in my USB this season. How about that? Season 38. Can you believe it? Wow. Remember back season 8 when we could all remember all the tribe names and all the buff colors and all the players? There were only like 3 reality shows on at the time. My USB is Eric, the firefighter. Something tells me that that's just a good call. If Eric goes far in the game, I think we might have another 4-alarm find with the immunity idol. Hey, look, I was sitting on one the whole time. I didn't notice. Now, on with the show. What a beautiful sailing ship. And I like that the Survivor Island has a spin-off island. That's pretty cool. We're going to see what happens with that. I like the way Ron took that nice pratfall. It's like, Ron digs deep for the idol, takes a fall and bounces back. He kind of reminds me of Ernest, remember him? Jim Varney meets Gary Busey. And wow, I'm getting my first glimpse of Eric. Good choice, Stacy. Meanwhile, Reem and Keith, their Survivor experience is more like Camp Snoopy. Oh, it's time for the challenge. Vote outs, take a seat on Sit Out Island. I like the tribal set. It's really cool. And I like how the boardwalk is always nicely done. You know, they can't have somebody trip and fall. They pay a lot of money for that part of the show. And I like how Ron at Tribal Council is kind of like, back to you, Jeff. Meanwhile, the weather forecast calls for dry clothes and no hard feelings. Okay, hard feelings. Boy, Jeff had that claw. Wasn't that great? Wow, it was like a talon. Talon talisman. Holy crap, what is it? It's the edge of freaking extinction. Have a great week, everybody.
All right. Good job, Chris. Good to hear your voice again. Enjoyed that. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
Hello, everyone. What a way to start the season. The marooning was great, and the article that was shared on Facebook group about how all that was set was a really interesting article to read. I knew there was a lot of things happening behind the scenes, but it's impressive about how much truly goes behind it. I didn't know that Wendy had mild Tourette syndrome. That changes the way I think she would play. I still think she will be out there for a while, but her story could be interesting to follow now. The producers always seem to find new ways to bring advantages into this game, and the advantage menu is a different way to do it. What would you guys choose if you were out there? I would probably choose it for an immunity idol first, and then probably extra vote. Yeah, that's what I'd do. I understand why Wendy, Reem, and Keith were separated from their team, but that just doesn't help their case in the long game. Keith is not the best swimmer at all, and so if that tribe loses again, I think Keith is in trouble of being the second person voted out. If the other tribe goes to tribal, then I'm afraid Julie might be gone. I think Kelly is going to be safe next week. Speaking of tribal, I am surprised that at the very first tribal of the season, there was already an explosion of words. Reem was very argumentative and didn't seem to understand that what she did pushed her castmates against her. I have a feeling that she probably won't last long on Extinction Island. All right, thanks, Jack. Up next, we've got a voice clip from Nicola-n-Jackson.
Hi, everybody. This is Nicola and
Jackson.
we just got done watching Survivor. We actually watched the whole episode, not just
The challenges.
the challenge today. And did you like it?
Did not like it because that was hard.
It was hard.
I could not do it.
You couldn't do it? You wouldn't want to be out there in the rain?
No.
How about at like the main camp where everybody is?
Yes.
You could do that. You just don't want to be where Reem went to. In the dark.
Yeah.
With just your torch.
Yeah.
It was a bit scary, wasn't it, at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened to your girl, Kelly?
She got hurt on the head.
She did. She got hurt on her head.
When she fell off the bounce beam.
Yep.
Ouch.
Could you have done that?
What the heck? I could never do that.
You couldn't? Anyhow, we really enjoyed the episode. I did watch it the other night, too. I thought it was pretty good all around. I'm looking forward to next week's episode.
Me too.
We got a massive 3 on our JSFL this week. I was bold and picked Reem to be safe and Wendy to go, and so that didn't work out.
And I loved it.
You loved it?
Yeah, I loved Survivor.
Okay. Well, we're happy it's back, and we look forward to hearing everybody else, especially Pete. Jackson loves listening to Pete. Thanks for everything that you do. We hope everybody has a good weekend, and we will talk to you all next week.
Yay, bye.
Bye. All right. Good job, Nicola. Good job, Jackson. Next up, we got an email from James in South Carolina. Hey, guys. Welcome back, Survivor. So glad to see you again. Seems like only yesterday we were finishing up the last season. Where did our winner go? It's been a while since I've given any feedback, but I'm determined not to let things outside of Survivor interfere this season. Good job. I like your goals. Overall, despite the returning players, I'm pleased with this season's cast. It doesn't feel like they're too beautiful, too strong, or too popular. I feel like there's a lot of us this season, just normal people with normal jobs, playing a game we love, and the returning players aren't terrible. On the other hand, the game happens fast now. My wife made a comment during the episode that really made me think. It happened during the swimming lesson when Keith, Wendy, and Reem were in the water, and back at camp, the talk of there's a threesome started, and immediately it was decided to vote one of them out. My wife's comment was how she really didn't like that, and that they were just teaching the kid how to swim, and everyone immediately jumped on the opportunity. They're just people being kind, and others are taking advantage of it. If anything, they're helping the tribe get stronger. There's a lot of people who had a strong reaction. They started talking about what a villain Wentworth was for her comment when she said that, and she was laughing.
Though Rick started it.
Yeah, Rick's good at planting seeds like that. Pay attention when he's talking. He's not only being a narrator for the season, but he's working that tribe all the time. Now, I'm sure there was much more going on there and that the reaction probably was deserved, but the edit made it look ruthless and cutthroat right out of the gate, almost too fast. We didn't get to ease into Survivor, but instead immediately went after the weakest of the herd. It's a testament to how fast the game is now. We don't get to see as much relationship forming and diplomacy before the strays are culled. It probably doesn't help that those 3 words, not like us, which makes overprotective parents, my wife and I included, want to get in there and protect them. Anyhow, that's the game as it is now, and it's really not a bad thing. Her comments really made me think about it, though. Overall, it was a really good episode, and I'm curious to see where it goes. The next on suggests that nothing is going to be easy, and alliances aren't going to last. I can't finish up without talking about the twist, Edge of Extinction. I'm worried that it's going to end up like most of the twists lately, a lot of hype that usually falls flat. I think it's the part about them being pushed to limits never faced before. I have my doubts. We'll give it a chance, but at this point, when it comes to twists, they have to show me and not tell me. There you go. Be Missouri, man. Thanks for all you guys do. Look forward to hearing from everyone. Thank you, James. Great to have your voice back on the show here with your insights and analysis. Next up, we got a call from Drew's crew.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew and Charlie and some friends and
Adelaide.
and some friends and Milo. Just have too many friends to name today. We just watched the challenge from the Survivor premiere. And what did you guys think of the challenge?
Right.
You could do it? Which part did you think you could do?
On the balance, because I'm really good at it.
You're really good at balancing. Could you do it too, Adelaide? No? It was hard, huh? There were lots of different things, but I thought it was pretty fun to watch, didn't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally spaced it on Jabik this season, and I feel bad, but I went on the record on Facebook, so at least there's that. Just a couple of things about this premiere. Yeah, it was a little too short. We're just kind of spoiled, I guess, from recent seasons with the longer premiere. Jumping to the very end, I thought that the Reem thing was blown way out of proportion. I thought they were making a mountain out of a molehill. It's like you pick one little thing and just it explodes, and so it's a bigger deal than it actually is. So if someone had just said something, then it would have been fine, but no one did, so it wasn't. Until then they wouldn't stop talking about it at tribal council, and Jeff just kept opening the wound wider and wider. So that's a gross analogy. A few other things. I'm not into Joe. I don't know. I just think he's he's great physical asset, but I think he's kind of bland. I just think he's kind of bland, okay? Sorry. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure in person he's a real great guy. I mean, of course. Can we just call her Kelly now? Can we just dispense with the last name business? That would be nice. Let's see. Some interesting personalities here. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is, can we stop taking the lead from, I don't know, friggin' Tyler Perry or whoever it was, and just give them their swimsuits this season? That would be just really great. I mean, am I alone here? Who's with me? Right? Well, I was pretty close with my first out pick of Wendy. I thought, there would be a turnaround. They actually made it seem super obvious that Reem was going to go, but I guess the reason why is because of the Edge of Extinction thing. He wasn't really going to go, so it didn't matter if it was obvious she was going to go. So it was a weird kind of twist on the editing. So why don't you guys say who your favorite is? Charlie, who did you pick? Looking at Paul's roster. Him? Hey, Charlie?
No, him.
Joe? Before you said Chris, are you changing it to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Daddy.
Who are you going to pick, Adelaide? Julia. Yep, I think that's who you said before. Okay, I picked Aurora. I didn't have any good reason why, so here's hoping that she will have some game in her. So far what we've seen of her has been okay. She's into keeping Joe around, at least for the help that he can provide. So anyway, it's Saturday, and it's freezing, and I hope that everyone has a really good weekend, and we're glad that Survivor is back. Are you glad to do another recording?
Yeah.
They've been asking to do a recording basically all through the entire break, every Saturday morning. But I think the real reason why is they like to watch cartoons after while I'm editing and sending. All right. Can you guys say bye?
Bye-bye. Bye, Christmas tree.
Christmas tree. All right. Talk to you guys next week.
Remembers the Christmas tree story, huh? Okay, good deal. Thanks, Drew, and the crew. Next up, we got an email from Kevin in Canada.
Welcome back and congrats on another season of the podcast, Joanne and Stacy. It's good to hear your voices again. This season is off to an excellent start. I'm definitely hooked, and I can't wait to see how things end up playing out on that desolate island. Reem is not in a good headspace. We watched her immediately combative nature during tribal. Her walk of shame after the vote out was peppered with mumbling and self-talk. The encounter with the fork in the road offering her a chance back into the game gave her a defiant, I'll show them moment. I loved the dark boat ride and her marooning. It was the best ending to an opening episode we may have ever seen. And in her mental state, it also feels like the show is playing a cruel game, psychological warfare. Who are we kidding? Reem is not going to come back and win the game. Now, she is the guinea pig for this year's big twist. Yikes. As for the rest of the cast, I'm looking forward to getting to know them. I think a returning player will be voted out next episode. Enjoy the season, everybody. All right, thanks, Kevin. Up next, we have a voice clip from Parker.
Hey, it's Park from Indiana, and oh my goodness, what a premiere. I'm so pumped right now. That was awesome. It was such a good episode of Survivor. There wasn't a boring moment. That challenge was great. The marooning was great. Don't like Ron that much, so kind of bummed out he got an advantage, but oh well. Ooh, you know what would be really interesting? If the Common Tribe didn't lose a challenge, and then at that third tribal council, when he can use that, he throws the challenge. That would be awesome. I'd do that. Such a great episode. Okay, first impressions, Wardog, I love him. And he didn't just like explode everything like I thought he would. He's actually like decent. David is meshing well, so I'm really happy about that. Wentworth is meshing well so far. I like Keith a lot more than I thought he would. I'm glad he's getting the hang of swimming now. I will be the first to admit I got my first impression on Wendy way wrong. Turns out Reem was a lot more annoying than Wendy. Wendy's actually, she's fun. I like her. She's not too much yet, so that's good. When Wentworth hit her face in that challenge, oh, David was the first one over the balance beam on that tribe. That makes me so happy. I love David so much, and I went with him as my winner pick. I'm team David all the way. I'm team a lot of these people. These people are really entertaining, honestly. Joe's meshing well. Aubrey's meshing well. Everybody's doing really good, except Reem. Okay, we had two buffoons. We had Reem and Julie. They were the buffoons. Both of them are the moms. Julie was just so out of her element and annoying. Could be like her David Wright story, but I don't think so. And then Reem, just a complete train wreck. Like, don't move other people's stuff. Like, what the heck are you doing? Oh, Rick, I love Rick so much. Oh my gosh. This is such a good cast. I'm super happy with this cast. Eric, the firefighter, had a lot more game than I thought he would. I'm mad that he's going after Aubrey, but I like him. Gavin, I like him. We didn't see much from Chris, but he didn't come off arrogant and annoying like some people thought he would. At least not yet. So you know, all around, I'm happy with everything, how everything turned out. I didn't get a vote-off point off Reem. Whatever, I got all my save points, and I'm happy with that. Dang, oh my gosh. Every time in Survivor, you see someone's true colors when they are on the chopping block, right? And we saw Reem's true colors. She did not take that well at all, and she didn't scramble. Like, she was like, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna scramble, but she didn't. She just complained about it in her confessionals. You have to be smart and strategic about this. It's not that hard. Next time on Survivor, it looks like Wentworth is being targeted, and it's no surprise that the returnees are being targeted, but David Wright isn't being targeted. I'm just going to put that out there. This is amazing. It's only been 2 years since he played? It's crazy to me. I love David so much, and I can't wait to see him win this season. All right, I think that's all I got. Oh, wait, one more thing. I love Gavin's pineapple shirt. I love it so much. All right, that's all. I will see you guys next time.
All right, Parker. Love your enthusiasm, bud. Good deal. Thanks for that. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Cameron from North Carolina calling in with the Week 1 listeners' feedback. So before we get down to the episode, I think Jeremiah said last week on the Jabbic perfectly what I thought about Joe. He's part of that sort of fun-loving, charismatic guy trope, but what he's done just hasn't been as enjoyable as Ozzy or Malcolm per se. So seeing him again, I really just don't know why they're so fixated upon seeing Joe Anglem there. I kind of wish we got a longer premiere. It did feel kind of rushed, but ultimately I did like what we got to see. So the menu twist, that was interesting. It's something new, sort of like your pick your own twist. Let's see how Rick uses that, I guess. So normally I don't like pure mutiny against the returnees, but if Eric and Gavin want to take out Aubrey really quickly, I'd be fine with that, honestly. I've said it all along, I'm not a huge fan of Aubrey, and I don't want to see the returnees domineer the game. Maybe David, I think it'd be cool seeing David play well again, but just the other three, they've had their chances. So Keith is from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and he mentioned he's from a small trailer park, and I've been there a couple times, so who knows, maybe I've actually seen where Keith Sowell is from. So no one got too purple of an edit. I think everyone got some screen time at least. Maybe just like Julia and Chris didn't get as much. But hey, it's episode 1. If you don't have much of a role, you're not going to get much of an air, you know? The challenge was really cool. I enjoyed every aspect of it, though early on it was pretty obvious Manu was going to lose. Rick Devens is holding up pretty well socially. When Reem came and started to dog him with the questions, he was able to, dodge him or just answer accordingly, not to put himself in that target position. I think Keith was also really smart when he was looking at the numbers, and he was not afraid to expose Reem and Wendy when they tried to put him in the boat with them. Really, I did not like how Reem's a woman in her mid-40s, and in my opinion, she just acts like a cocky high school football player. Her social game was just awful. I mean, she's all like, dude, bro, I can't believe it. I mean, throwback to last year when I was there in high school. So Jeff's already calling Rick Devens. He's calling him by his last name. Does that mean he considers him a Cochran or a Donaldson? We'll see. Well, good riddance to Reem, or so I hope. I wonder how well she'll hold up on the Isle of Extinction. Oh, the suspense. I feel like kind of a fool for JSFL. I got all my safe picks being Keith, Lauren, Rick, and Aubrey, but I really meant to go back and change my vote-off point from Victoria to Reem. So, darn, I forgot that. Looking like next week we'll see an early departure for a returnee, honestly. I'm thinking Aubrey or Kelly will go home. Albeit short, it was a pretty good premiere. I'm looking forward to some good gameplay. Let's go Eric. I chose him as my USB also. I'm on that big train. So let's look forward to a great season right after David vs. Goliath, which in itself was a top 5 season in my opinion. All right, everyone. Hope you all have a great week, and I hope to hear some great feedback.
Excellent.
Oh, I was going to mention something after Chris said he managed to get his USB pick in this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he forgot to, hit submit last year. But I was going to say were 17 people who made their picks but did not
choose
get
a
a
USB. Yeah. Yep. All
And
right. Well, Chris got his this time.
I know of at least one person that got their USB but forgot to make the picks.
Wow. Okay. That's different.
She posted it, so.
Okay.
But I won't say who it is.
All right. That's a special kind of talent. Good deal. Thanks, Cameron. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose in Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, well, the edge of extinction, whatever that means, is finally here. The premiere was okay, but I'm reserving judgment until we see the twist play out a bit. Fingers crossed, folks. My other observations are as follows. On the ship, Jeff couldn't have painted bigger targets on the returnees if he used a bucket of red paint and a big brush. I don't think Trader Jeff's shipboard emporium has a you break it, you bought it policy. David training newbies in camp setup was the height of irony. Wendy's patterns reminded me of David Byrne in the Once in a Lifetime video. Oh, I could totally see that. Joe says he's putting Joey Amazing away any day now. I'm not a fan of Ron's advantage menu. Where's the chocolate mousse? Get it? Mm-hmm. Josh the Plush Moose? Mm-hmm. I'm surprised nobody noticed Ron's pants were caked with dirt from digging up the advantage. Dingbat music playing while Ron talked about his advantage doesn't bode well for him. Rick has a dad bod, and I have dad jokes. The producers hope Edge of Extinction means get Joe deep in the game. Joanne and Stacy don't eat fried pickles. Gavin's stopping by after the reunion show to take back your country cards. If Reem ever opens a laundry business, she needs to offer a no sand option. Only on Survivor could sink or swim turn into teach swimming and sink. When Wentworth went splat, I was surprised she didn't get a concussion. Stacy, thanks for saving me from crafting a tasteful play on words for Reem's name. Wendy says she doesn't vibe with people. Her talk with David and Dan proved that. I absolutely love the Shipwreck Tribal Council set. The Tribal Council dogpile on Reem was brutal to watch. I'm not sure why, but Wentworth's reaction at Tribal really rubbed me the wrong way. Extinction Island, the producer's way to save on Ponderosa cost for early vote.
I like that.
Clever. Oh, man, you've got a future in finance. Wrestling at Tribal Council would sure beat a rock draw. Reem has a point. A lot of early boots are older women. Survivor gods, Reem doesn't want to leave the game. Wish granted. I know it can't happen, but I'd love to see Reem and Natalie together on Extinction Island.
Oh, Lordy.
Next time, returnees get targeted while Reem sticks it out at the edge. Who'll go next, and when will go become gone? Tune in next week. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thanks, Josh. That was excellent. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy. Well, Survivor's back. You're back, and I'm back. This is David in Pittsburgh. Just wanted to let you know I was on an island of my own for a couple of weeks, and that was Cuba. And the funny thing was, in going there before we left, I kept worrying that Survivor would start before we got back. So I was relieved that we got back on Thursday night, and then Survivor started the following Wednesday. Okay, Stacy, I was thinking about what you said about the first shot of Jeff in the beginning, and actually when I saw it, I really liked it because it was so different. Usually there's that zooming out and he's dangling from a helicopter or on the top of a mountain or whatever, but this was kind of a zoom out in stages until you were completely as far away from Extinction Island as you could get, and you could see how small it was. So I thought that was really cool. As to the returnees, except for David, who I'm not quite sure why he's back, I was really glad to see Joe and Kelly back because I think they're strong players. But I've always had a soft spot for Aubrey. I just felt in her first season, she really got trashed by those knuckleheads on the jury who weren't going to vote for somebody who was originally from another team. And so Michelle won instead. And then when Aubrey returned, Sandra blocked her in the beginning, and she was left playing on the defensive for the whole game. So I have high hopes for her, even though she's already being targeted. David, I'm just not sure about David, but we'll see. As for the newbies, because of the shorter format, I really am having a tough time figuring out who's on what team and who's who. So I guess I know more about the players on Manu, the losing tribe. Well, for example, Keith and Wendy are very distinctive, and then there's Lauren, who wanted to play with Kelly. But I'm just not getting a picture of the two teams. I really wish it would have been an hour and a half show. And I'm questioning the Extinction Island format. So, like, are the players being kicked off going to become a huge mob on this island? And how many are coming back? And I'll be interested in seeing what that happens. But, of course, the later you're voted or onto that island, the more you'll know. You'll have alliances built and kind of figure out who voted you out. Anyway, I'm glad the Survivor's back. It was always good to hear your recap. I'm looking forward to what the other listeners have to say. And if last season was exceptional, the season before was abysmal. If this season's somewhere in between, I'm happy. Bye.
Oh, I like that logic. Yes, let's be hopeful that we're in between.
As far as we know, they come back twice. Mm-hmm. Once around the merge and then late in the game.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Good to hear your voice again, David. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
This is Kim from North Carolina. It's lovely to hear all your voices again and to be in the middle of another Survivor season. Congrats on the Underdog song, Stacy, and I really like that new intro-outro music. So, at first impression, I liked Rick, Keith, Victoria, Julia, Eric, and Julie. Nothing I saw on Wednesday night changed my mind about that. I've picked Eric as my USB, so I obviously liked him too. The changes to my first impressions were that I liked Dan more than I did from the Jabik. I liked the way he backed off at Tribal when it was clear that Reem couldn't really be reasoned with. I also had a favorable reaction to Gavin, who really just didn't make an impression on me at all for Jabik. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this Edge of Distinction theme is going to work. But I agree with many of you who have said it's just a ploy to keep the returnees in the game. My predictions are usually not that good, so I won't make any. So far, I would just say the only person I don't want to win is Ron. It seems like he will be fun to watch on TV because he's very over the top, but I don't want him to win or even really go very far in the game. Oh, I got a vote off point. Looking forward to hearing what everybody thinks. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for everything.
Good job.
Yeah, so the teacher turned on the teacher. She is not a fan of Ron. All right. Thanks, Kim. Next up, we got a quick email from Jen in California.
Hi, everyone. I'm unable to record this week, so I'm sending in some quick written feedback. I enjoyed the episode, although I don't know if this cast is going to match the cast of David versus Goliath in terms of weekly excitement, but it's still early. Our USB David is off to a solid start with the smallest target of all the returnees. Mm-hmm. Reem brought the drama and will be a memorable first vote off. I think that she's a good inaugural resident of Edge of Extinction Island. That's about all I have for this week. Cheers till next week. All right, thanks, Jen. Up next, we have a voice clip from Slappy McGee.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Slappy and McGee. I just want to call and say thank you for the podcast. You guys are doing great, and I think the first new season is looking great. I'm excited about it. I still think everything is going well as far as my picks go. I just joined your Survivor League there, so that's exciting, and I got all of them right. What? I chose the 4 correct safe choices, and I'm in the side challenge, too. So I'm coming for you there, Stacy. And also, I think I got the Reem right. Yeah, I got Reem right as well. So I felt good. So that'll probably be the only time all season, right? That'll be it. Because watching it, of course, you start to gain real information about who is going out. But it looks really interesting, a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. And again, I'm glad that you guys have this podcast so I can hear everybody's opinions about it and hear your opinions too, because it gives me great insight into what's going on for the season. Thanks so much. I won't waste any more of your time here, but I will try to call in a little earlier this time, not cut it to the last wire. Mixing my metaphors. All right. Take care. Bye. Slavio. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Slappy McGee calling back. I realized that I forgot to talk about one I wanted to talk about really quick, which was a survivor having Tourette on the show. My nephew has Tourette, and so I've kind of grown up knowing a little bit about this. It's kind of great to have that representation on the show, even though it's windy, and she's, I don't know, she's kind of shifting loyalties maybe. Maybe she's a smart player and she'll be in there. So I hope so, because I do like her. But I'm glad that she's also bringing some awareness to it, because Tourette is usually known as the cursing disease, but actually it's only like 10% of those who have Tourette. It's a mild strain of it. So actually 90% of people who have Tourette's are like her, just have certain little tics and, physical and vocal tics every now and again. And it affects everybody differently to differing degrees. But it's great to have some awareness out there, and I was excited to see that on the show. That's what I wanted to say earlier that I forgot. So anyway, thanks a lot. Talk to you. Slappy out again.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And I like those statistics, too. That's good to know. I learned something. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here, and I have to say that it was a very solid episode. But the part I enjoyed most was what I thought I disliked the most, the actual Extinction Island introduction. As Reem was walking away and hoping it would rain on everyone, I just had a laugh when she saw that she had options and ended up in the rain all alone. I do want to say that it must have been scary for her. Getting in that boat with no one to talk to, going who knows where was, well, I'm imagining sort of like crossing the river Styx. And let's face it, it was pitch dark when she arrived, so that couldn't have helped at all, since she couldn't figure out what was what or where was where. Still, something tells me that Extinction Island wasn't anything like what she was expecting it to be. With a bed and a roof and maybe even a buffet to chow down at in the morning. So in the end, yeah, let's call it just desserts for refusing to get along with everyone. Okay then, as I said, I found it to be a solid episode, but if I were to complain, I'd say it ran about a half an hour shorter than it should have. Oh well. And I liked Stacy's question to Joanne so much, I thought that I'd reevaluate some of the cast as I see them now, again eliminating the known personalities. But I will say that Joe can't help being Awesome Joe, or whatever it was he calls himself, for understandable reasons. No one ever wants to give less than their all when it means that everyone benefits. He's sort of between a rock and a hard place there. So, who did I misjudge? Well, perhaps Dan. I have to say that I actually liked him, especially his not being afraid to tell Reem that she was a bit much around camp. Also, Aurora has me thinking that I'll give her a chance rather than just disliking her, as I did when I just looked at that stern-faced picture of her. And Rick, although I initially liked him, I think he's far better than I originally thought. Walking up to those 3 outcasts of his tribe and asking what they were thinking was a great move. And Keith, yeah, well, I'm thinking that glass is half empty rather than half full. He's self-aware, but his gameplay seems very, very clumsy to me. Oh, and how about when he jumped in the water? And the poor guy, he couldn't swim and he's struggling to keep his nose out of the water so he can breathe. And Jeff's yelling, "Dig in, Keith!" You know, I'm pretty sure digging in isn't an option when you're trying to stay afloat and your feet can't touch the bottom, Jeff. And on the other side of the coin, who was I right about? Well, the brightest thing about Wendy is her hair, so I guess you could say I nailed it there. And I also called Reem out correctly, but it would appear that only one of us didn't see the light there, and I mean no offense with that at all. But in Reem's defense, she was absolutely on target when she said that if they had told her to leave their stuff alone, she would have. Or would she have? Well, nope. I sort of doubt it, but still, they should have said something rather than ignore the issue and hope that it would right itself. And hey, what's with Ron's pants? I wouldn't be caught voted out in those things, but I am interested in seeing what he does with his advantage menu. And while I'm at it, CBS, when you're starving your players, should you name something an advantage menu? And lastly, I wish we saw more of Julie and Victoria. They disappeared in the edit. Hopefully we'll see more of them next week when Manu loses yet again and Wendy goes to visit Reem, where they can complain about their ex-teammates for days on end. And yeah, Reem will never last out there. And I guess that's it for me. So enjoy, everyone. Goodbye.
Oh, outstanding. Thanks,
I'm
Paul.
with you, Paul. I'd vote Ron off just for those pants.
Those are some bad pants. Yeah, and he wasted no time getting them completely filthy, too.
And make sure you wear them out of here.
He and David, they're just like, you know, when they were little kids, they were always covered in mud and stuff. I was looking at, what was it, a picture? What was it? We were looking at a video? He's just filthy. Day 3. Absolutely filthy.
All down his shirt.
Yeah. It's like, how did you do all that in 3 days?
And my thought was, well, he knows he's going to be filthy anyway, so he's just not going to worry about it.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. He's definitely got a pig pen vibe.
You don't know. He might be neat as a pin at home.
I doubt it. I think he's probably one of those people that's always spilling food on himself.
Well, I can't say much.
Oh, goodness. Wendy. It was when we were rewatching, right? We were trying to figure out what her necklace said.
Oh, yeah.
And her necklace says Big Wendy.
I thought it said Big Money.
Yeah, you said Big Money.
Because I could see the big.
No, I think it says Wendy.
And I couldn't read the other, and I'm like, Big Wendy.
Big Wendy.
What
well,
is that?
It turns out, in addition to Tourette's, she's got a problem with gas, and so they call her Big Wendy.
Did you read that somewhere?
No, I totally made that up. But you'll think about it now every time you see her.
No, I'll forget that.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will.
You'll remember Big Wendy.
I choose to forget that.
She plays the little bean trumpet all through camp. Big Wendy.
Well, then she will get voted out.
Probably. She doesn't seem to have... She's like Reem. She doesn't quite seem to have... She's got some game sense, but not enough to get out of her own way.
I'd still vote Keith out first, just because she can do better in the challenges. They don't need to keep losing. They can get her next time.
That's practical, but...
That's easy vote.
It's kind of a toss-up. I'm not sure either one of them is a strategic threat. Keith all but handed his support to Reem. Reem didn't have the good enough sense to completely take him in. She decided she wanted to set him straight with some mom tough love.
Well, maybe he was didn't handing like that so much.
Well, I think he wised him up really quick.
Like, oh.
Yeah, I doubt she even...
My mama don't treat me like that.
I doubt she even realized what she'd done on a rewatch. That was probably hard for her this week.
Well, you can rest assured she was probably upset with Keith when he went, ran right off and told.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, who knows? She might be in the final 3. You just never know.
No, she's not in the final 3. And if she is, it's because she's a goat. And you take her because she won't get any votes. She's a no-vote goat.
Yeah, I don't think she'll hang around that long.
No, she very well may quit before day 6. I think there's a chance of that. Do you think there's any chance that Kama's going to lose a challenge, short of throwing it?
I don't know. I kind of think I'm going to go with them for the win this week.
Yeah. It looks like a very physical challenge, and there's a water element, which is definitely going to tax Keith and Chris, for that matter. And I'm pretty sure we've seen this challenge before, where they got to lift that big waterlogged snake out of the cage after they get in there and get it untied.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
And it's really hard to carry. Yet seems unlikely. I'm really leaning towards Manu going back to tribal again. And Wendy, in one of the previews, just seems to be laying everything out there for Rick and David to turn on her. So even as tempting as it'll be to go after Wentworth, you can't afford to lose Wentworth in these challenges if you're going to have any hope of going forward. So, yeah, I think they're going to struggle a little bit between Keith and Wendy trying to decide.
Well, that's
who
it.
goes.
Now, I would have absolutely put Wendy, but it's like, but if Keith cost them the loss, then I'm sorry, I'd have to go with him.
I'm going to be really surprised if they go for the Wentworth blindside this early. I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't think they will either.
Yeah, it would just mess with it, because
David's on board.
Difference between keeping Wendy in for challenges and Wentworth in for challenges. I think you want Wentworth, although
I'd keep her and get rid of Keith and Wendy.
One of the things that we were watching in the preview when they're swimming in that challenge,
she was dog pedaling.
She doesn't swim well.
She wasn't swimming well, no. Unless she was just hanging back.
I don't think she was hanging back. She looked like she was struggling. And I dismissed it when I saw her in the marooning hold her nose when she jumped in. But that's usually someone who's got trouble with the water that does it. They're afraid that they're going to get the water rushing up in their nose. They just haven't gotten the knack of being able to jump in without having water jet up into your brain.
Well, I can understand from high up, because it would happen easier that way, but not from off the platform. But she held it again.
Yeah. And so she did it in marooning. She does it again this time, and then she's struggling in the water. So
yeah, but I never noticed before in her other seasons that she couldn't swim fine, but it did look like she was dog pedaling.
Yeah, it looked like she was struggling.
But she might have just been hanging back in case Chris needed help with Keith. I don't know.
She wasn't that attentive.
But we'll watch.
She seemed very focused on getting herself to the cage where the big waterlogged snake cushion is.
But we'll pay attention to that more.
Yeah. So
But
I think about her being really good in the challenges, and then she's looking weak in the water now.
Yeah, overall, not nearly as weak as Keith.
No, although he was actually swimming, I think, with some support from Chris, and she was dog paddling.
Yep, that's true.
She was almost treading water, it looked like, from that perspective.
I didn't think she was treading at all. If she'd been treading, then I would have thought she was hanging back for him.
She's moving slow.
But I thought she was dog
Kind
paddling.
of Uncle Joe in the water there, moving kind of slow. Petticoat Junction. Here comes Uncle Joe moving kind of slow.
I know.
You give me this weird stink face like you don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, I didn't. My mind did not jump to Joe in Petticoat Junction.
I think that Uncle Joe.
Yes, I know Uncle Joe.
I think that the Kama tribe are going to keep winning.
I'm good with that. I like them.
Yeah. And I don't think there's going to be... Aubrey's definitely in way more trouble than Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Even though in one of the secret scenes, Gavin and Eric, are talking about how they're looking forward to taking Joe out. Gavin, in particular, is looking to sap Joe's energy by touching his man bun, he informs us. But
they're going to use him for a while.
They're going to want to win, and as Eric said in the episode, to hide behind Joe's broad, beautiful shoulders for a little while.
Because when Joe's gone, they're going to look at them next as far as the strength.
Not going to tribal council right now. Super important. They'll take Joe for that, absolutely.
And I didn't see Ron do a whole lot in the challenge at all. He was always kind of in the back.
He's a little spastic.
So I'm thinking he's not going to do that well in challenges.
But he's safe. He's got insurance
he is
right
now.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I can probably see going wrong for Kama if he tries to wreck it somehow to leverage his advantage.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and we look forward to seeing the moment where Victoria and Aurora knock heads. It's going to be some head banging going on for real in
What
this next
makes you think
episode.
that?
We've seen it already.
We have?
If you're paying attention, you can see them knock heads. It's going to happen in that challenge. I don't know if it'll be emphasized or not. They definitely, there's a headbutt.
I haven't.
And I'm not saying figuratively, I'm saying literally.
Oh, okay.
They bend down to pick up the big waterlogged snake
okay.
and crack heads.
I didn't know what you were trying to say.
Yep, you had the lost face.
I know.
Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
I think that's good.
Excellent. Good deal. Thanks for the nice comments from everyone about the song. I appreciate that. And we want to thank everyone who took time to send in your thoughts and predictions about the new cast for this season. Good job. You guys are rocking it here in the first listener feedback show.
And if you play JSFL, don't forget to get your picks in before the deadline on Wednesdays, 7:30 Eastern and 4:30 Pacific.
There you go. And I'll make sure to include those links to the Dalton Ross articles at Entertainment Weekly. Definitely his recap is funny. There's some extra details, some more stuff about what went on at Tribal Council that you're going to want to. Yeah, he's great. It's a super talent. It's awesome that he loves the show and puts that kind of energy into it. And that deal about the marooning, all the stuff going on, I might go back and read that again. It's so good. So much wonderful content and behind the scenes details. Highly recommend it. If you don't want to read it, get someone to read it to you.
Okay, I'll get you to read it to me.
Sure, I'll read it to you. Anything else?
That's it. Everybody have a good week.